Hello everyone, and welcome to You've Retired, Now What? I'm here to help you navigate through these waters of deciding what's the rest of my life going to look like? What's my next phase going to look like? What have I not done that I wanted to do? I'm your host, Michael Kiffmeyer, and each week on this podcast, I give you tips and tricks, processes, and methodologies that can help you through your thought process. So we got a whole lot to talk about. Let's dive in. Today we're going to dive into revitalizing your retirement. You might have retired for a year or two, maybe even 3 years, and you're starting to say, now what? Now what do I do? My energy doesn't seem like it's the highest. I don't seem like I'm having any success of getting all the projects done that I had planned for. And I'm now going through a phase of self-doubt and lack of identity. So how do we get revitalized? And there's a couple steps that we can take. If we don't do anything, it's not going to be any better again this time next year. So many retired and felt that once they retired, that was it. And they would be on vacation all the time. That seems to get boring. That seems to get boring after a while because we were wired to have something to do on a regular basis. When you worked, you had a schedule. You knew exactly where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there. You had colleagues that you interacted with, and that was a vital part of your life. For many, and it was your identity. And now you're saying, what am I here for now? We've been asking that question of ourselves probably the majority of our life. You know, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? And what's the purpose? We got to have a sense of purpose. If we don't have a sense of purpose, then we kind of just become lethargic. We procrastinate, and we're very unhappy. So one of the first things I'd ask you to take a look at is what makes you happy. If you know what makes you happy, then you can answer the question, why does that make me happy? And if that you can't answer that right away, well, there's some exercises and there's some steps that you can take. And one of the first steps I would suggest that you take is let's make what we call an old Ben Franklin list, where you take a piece of paper and you divide it right down the middle and you do the pros and cons of everything you thought you wanted to do and where you are today. I'll be the first one to admit to you, things that were important to you 30 years ago probably are not the same things that are important to you today. You might have had passions and projects and hobbies, and you kind of let them go by the wayside. How'd that happen? Well, if you're like most of us, you're busy making a living, and work took a whole bunch of your time up. And if you had a family on top of that, then it was very, very difficult to squeeze time in for yourself. Now you have that time, and you're facing a new set of challenges. You want to be adventurous, and you want to see, is there an opportunity? What can I do now? The great news is, you know, when we were kids, we had all kinds of dreams and visions of what we were going to do. Why can't you start to revisit some of that and see if it still applies for you? Perhaps there's a hobby that you have that you like to do. Possibly volunteer. So let's look back at everything you had when you worked, what you have today, and how can that change? One of the first things you have to understand is there's about 5 steps of retirement. One of them's growth. You've got to be able to continue to grow. Just because you retire, that doesn't mean your days are numbered. Scientists and doctors have shown us that we're going to live another 20, 25 to 30 years past retirement age, which is typically 65. So why is that? Well, medical advances, better medicines, better techniques to take care of ourselves. We take care of our health more than we ever used to do. So those are all contributing factors for longer lives. Now, if you sat down with your financial planner, I'm sure you had planned for a good 15 years past your retirement, maybe 20 for having enough money. However, you didn't plan for what we got today, this inflation. Right now, prices are sky high. And especially if you're on a fixed income, what are you going to do? You're going to have to ask yourself that question. And I would implore you to think that one of the things you're going to do is you're going to have a plan. You need to have a plan for your finances. You need to have a plan for your interest. You need to have a plan for your family. And you need to embrace your friends as well. Now, it's going to be a little different now that you've retired. And you're saying, well, I am tired, but, I need something to do. So how about this? How about we take the approach of creep, crawl, walk, run. We take little mini steps to get to this part, to get to this part, to get to this part, and finally we've got the thing or the job or even volunteering that makes us feel filled. We need to take care of, our hearts and our minds, because if you're not happy, you're going to be resentful. And if you're resentful, you're not going to live a very progressive life. So after growth, what do we look at next? Well, obviously we talked about financial. And again, just because you retired and you met with your financial planner, you don't sit it and forget it, because you could run out of money. And that's the number one concern of retirees. Everybody wants, if I save this, will I have enough money? Maybe. And why financial planners say maybe, they know all of these other factors that could affect your annual or your monthly income. Factors like inflation, factors like policy change, factors like gas has gone through the roof. Gas and other oil products are very expensive right now. So the other thing that you might want to visit is, if you're going to live all these years, how about your physical well-being? Doctors tell us that after the age of 50, things start to go wrong. And if you haven't planned for it, you need to plan for it now. Because if you, heaven forbid, have a serious illness or a sickness, nothing can wipe out bank accounts and savings like health concerns and medical expenses. So you need to have a plan for that as well. And along with that, I would suggest, and the thing to keep you vibrant is, what kind of physical activity are you doing? Are you running? Are you taking a walk? Are you, just biking? Maybe you're hill climbing, or like me, you go to the gym a lot. Even that can get boring, so you need to change it up somewhat to fit your needs for today. What I did 35 years ago, I'm surely not doing today. How about you? What kind of things are you doing to keep your energy up? And you need to keep your energy up, because if you're going to live more years than you had anticipated, then you're going to have to make sure that you're healthy and can get out there on a regular basis. And when I say get out there, it's whatever it is you want to do. Maybe it's boating. Maybe that's what you want to do. Maybe gardening is the thing for you. Maybe you want to start your own winery. I don't know, but you're going to have to make plans for it. And my suggestion is, with that Ben Franklin list I talked about earlier, let's put what you want to do and what what you got to do to get there. If you break this down to small steps, you don't have to swallow the elephant whole, as they say. You just got to take a little bite at a time. And if you chip away with this, you're doing two things. Number one, you're getting towards whatever it is that you want. More importantly, you got a plan. And you got a plan, and with that plan, you're going to have a time frame. And if you stay consistent, then you will not have the challenge of trying to get yourself excited each and every day, because you're working towards a goal. You're working towards the plan. You're working towards the life that you always said that you wanted to live. You know, there was a gentleman by the name of Bill Mays, and he said the tragedy is not living your whole life and having little to show for it. The tragedy is to have a plan without a project behind it, and you're kind of like a rudderless ship. You are going nowhere very quick. One of the other things I would implore you to do is you need to become a lifelong learner. This keeps your mind sharp, because when you start to become lethargic and you start to become listless, you're not going to do very much. And you need to think of how you want to live your life. Design your life now after you've retired. What do you want to do? Do you want to travel nonstop? Okay, you can do that, but you got to have the finances for it. Do you want to spend more time with family and friends? Do you want to do something different than you had ever done in your life? You know, when we were working, I mentioned family and friends. You didn't do it on purpose, but chances are probably pretty good that your family didn't get as much attention as you would have liked to give them. Not because you were not compassionate and didn't care, but more importantly because you were working so many hours, and then you show up late at night and you have very little time. So I would suggest that maybe you reach out and make a plan to have more quality of time with your family and friends. We already said your friends are going to change. I mean, I am sure you're probably like me, you got lifelong friends, and that's great. But you're not going to have the amount of friends that you had that when you worked. So you need to do things like join social groups, if you will. Find people that have the same kind of interests that you possibly have. And you could maybe take a course. You could try to learn a new trade. And it doesn't have to be for a career, but it does have to be something that gives you the reason to keep moving forward. And this life wasn't meant to live in isolation. That's why you want to reach out more and more. You know, goals lead to projects, and projects lead to completion eventually, no matter what they are. So if you kept a journal on what you want to do and how you want to go about it, and what are your steps going to be. And it's a way to engage your mind while you're working towards that life you always wanted to live. You want to leave a legacy for your children and for others. What's that legacy? What would you like it to be? And please don't just identify with what you were when you worked. I hate to say it, those days are gone unless you decide you want to start a second career. And if we have 25 or 30 years, sure enough, have enough time to do a second career. Give this some serious thought, because without it, you're going to be a very passive individual. Hey guys, real quick, if you've been struggling to answer the question, now what, after you've retired, I'd like to invite each and every one of you to my free Now What challenge that can help you reignite your spark, give yourself a sense of direction. Try to decide exactly what it is you want to do in this next phase of your life. People are very smart and they get worn out. I know that. But eventually they know they got to do something more. And you need a purpose to get up and out of that bed each and every morning. I have tools, processes, and methodologies that I'm going to share with you in this challenge that I believe will help you clear your mind and decide exactly what you're going to do in this next phase of your life. I can share with you, I've seen individuals that just have, once they retired, they quit. They didn't really have a plan. And then I'd meet them, one-on-one or in seminars, and I heard a lot of complaining. Well, it's kind of boring. And I asked them the question, I understand, but what is it you've done about that? Is there anything that you can do? I will share with you, and most of you have enough life experience to know this. Only you can make you happy. The onus is on you. And I don't want to hear from any of you, well, I'm too old. I don't think I can do this. You're not too old. I mean, you've heard me before tell you stories like Grandma Moses was like 85 before she picked up a paintbrush. Colonel Sanders didn't get his chicken recipe sold until he was about 65. Then you had Ben Franklin still serving in the French Parliament when he was 80. So you can do what you want to do. I'm taking nothing away from those of you that just want to relax. But relaxing only lasts for so long. I can remember going on vacation for 2 weeks, and about the middle of that second week, I was getting pretty itchy because I am the kind of individual that always has to keep busy and have something to do. Perhaps you're like that as well. And even if that's not you, you can find something that that can appeal to you and to keep you with a sense of purpose for each and every day. And that sense of purpose is what keeps you alive. That is the thing that keeps you alive, keeps you sharp, makes you an interesting person, and instead of someone that towards the end of their life, they're living a life of regrets. You don't want to do that. You want to have something that excites you. You want to have something that motivates you and energizes you more than anything else. This life was meant to be enjoyed. You only get one of them. And I'm a strong proponent. Let's let that life be the best that it can be. Let's let that life be something that you always wanted to do, but never had the time to do it. And now you have the time to do it. So I have tools, processes, and methodologies that I can help you with in the future to help you reach your goals. In fact, I will share with you, I'm planning a challenge. It's going to be a free challenge. It's called the Now What Challenge. Now that you're retired, now what? In that challenge, we're going to talk about things such as what is your why? If you want to do something, what's your why? What is it you want to do? And more importantly, how do you think you're going about it? We will go in this challenge, we'll go deeper into the planning stage of exactly what you want to do. And don't be ashamed or don't be afraid that you really haven't nailed that down yet. I don't know what to want to do. I had a client that just retired and she told me, I'm just going to hang out. What's that mean? I mean, that means doing anything you want to do for a while, but I'll guarantee you, if you're used to the busyness of work and companionship and communicating with others, you're going to get bored. And let's combat that boredom right here and right now. You also need to try several things out. You're not going to get it on the first time of trying something, and you say, "Well, I don't really want to do that." You got to take your values and match them with your interest. And if they don't work, then you got to blow it up and start again. And there's nothing wrong with that. You right now. There's only a couple people you have to answer to: yourself and probably your significant other, and maybe your children. I don't know. I don't know who else that you feel very responsible for. But the good news is, if you are interested in this challenge, it'll be a 5-day challenge, 1 hour a week each day. And I'm in the process of putting it together right now. If you have an interest, I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn, Messenger, Instagram, TikTok, and just let me know if this is something you have an interest in, and I'll send you the link. The link should be available very shortly. I've been working on it for a while now, but I'd invite each and every one of you listening to this podcast. I'd also ask you one other thing. If you have friends, family, or colleagues, please tell them about this podcast. It usually goes off every Wednesday morning, every week. And I love to build a community. The community is to help those that are struggling with what they're going to do next now that they have retired. And I would like to answer any questions you have. I have a lot of content. I have a lot of things that I have learned over my 30 plus years in education and helping people and corporations. But I might miss something. And I'd certainly like to speak right to you, because I'm doing this to help others. I'm doing this to help those that have retired and they're struggling with the process now that they've done just about everything they want to do. And I want to help you to become happy. You know, there's millionaires and billionaires out there that they've got a lot of money, and you, from afar, you might think that they're very happy. Well, guess what? I have people come to me and they got money and they're not happy, and something's missing. And what was missing was they were so busy accumulating their wealth or building a business or whatever it is they did, they never took time out for themselves and says, what makes me happy? What would make me happy? And so what they're doing now is they're kind of doing some deep soul searching to find out what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And they're working towards a goal that they achieved all that they had achieved throughout their life. Now they're looking for other achievements and things that they can do now. My age group, the baby boomers, we've been told that, or there's been a label put on us that we're the bionic boomers. We still have more to do. We get our knees replaced, we get our shoulders replaced, we get our hips replaced, whatever we have to do to keep moving. And I would hope that your mindset might be that way as well. And if it isn't that way, well, let's work on seeing what motivates you, what your happiness is, and how I might be able to serve you. One more time, I thank you for listening. I certainly would like you to share this, as I said, with your friends, colleagues, and even family members. You'd be surprised at how many people your age are struggling with some of these same thoughts in their mind. No one has retirement 100% figured out. And today in the world, it's like a moving target. Just when you think you have it figured out, you got to look at it again. I'd like to thank you for listening. I hope to hear from you soon. If not, I'll see you next week with a new podcast with new information, all designed to help you. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, before we conclude this episode, I'd like each and every one of you to know that your thoughts, your dreams, and what you would like to get out of this podcast is valuable to me. My whole goal and my mission is to serve you like I have served others. For years I had taught major corporations how to use learning as a competitive advantage. I want to do the same for you. So please leave your notes or reach out to me, and I want to gear this podcast towards your wants and needs and help you as much as I can. Again, this is Michael Kiffmeyer, and you've listened to You've Retired, Now What? I want to thank each and every one of you for listening.